the sisters, there are arrangements for sisters ahead. So everyone, after your singing, please make your way to the base stage. the speaker is on his way, inshallah. He's just finishing up his salah.
I've been here, brother. Wait, should I The speaker? He's not here yet. Okay.
We don't have a chair for him on the stage. He's going to sit here when the moderators announce him, then he's going to go on.
With the chair or without?
No, he's just going to sit here. When he's announced, he's going to go sit.
Okay.
Can you call Brother Muslim?
It's gotta be maybe. Maybe we can.
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, before we begin our program, there's two bathrooms. This bathroom right here is only for brothers, and the bathroom in the back is for sisters. Before we start our program, I would like to call up our head student, Janazah Zahiri, to recite from the Holy Quran.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون. هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. صدق الله العظيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Jazakallah. Takbir. On behalf of JMC, I'd like to thank everyone for attending this program. I would like to thank the Sheikh for taking his time off, and I would like to thank all the volunteers for helping to set this event up. Just to give everyone a brief description of what JMC Youth has to offer, we have weekly youth programs for both brothers and sisters. On Fridays, we have a program for younger brothers starting at 6, and starting at 7:45, we have an older brothers program. Also for sisters, we have a Sunday program that starts at 1:30. A brief description of Brother Noor. Brother Noor is an energetic and active community funeral coordinator. He is the owner of Muslim Funeral Services of New York and is the head coordinator for the Janazah project, which currently serves the greater tri-state area, while providing affordable services for those who have and free services for those who need in New York and New Jersey. Noor has gained traction from within and outside of the Muslim community. He has also led to a broader platform of funeral services, help and collaboration to the general population. So without any further ado, I would like to have Brother Noor speak.
Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala place barakah in this gathering. Allahumma ameen. We ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this gathering for His sake and for His face. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to benefit not only in this dunya but in the hereafter. Allahumma ameen ya rabbil alameen. Who here, by a show of hands, have been involved, and when I ask you to raise your hand, you keep your hand up, have been involved in a janazah? That can be anything. That can be you seeing a janazah, praying on a janazah. Raise your hand. Keep your hands high if you've been to a salatul janazah at least. Okay. Keep your hands up if you were part of preparing that janazah, meaning washing and shrouding. Okay? Alhamdulillah lidalik. Keep your hands up. And who here from those brothers and sisters had the ability not only to prepare the janazah for ghusl, but to be with them at their final moments before they passed away, before Malik al-Maut did his job. Okay? For those that have been blessed with this opportunity, you guys and you sisters know, subhanallah alim, how life-changing it can be. That moment that the person is taking their last breaths in this dunya, thinking about the last thoughts that they have on this dunya, for you to be with them at that time, subhanallah alim, is a great life-changing experience that you'll never be able to get from any university, from any school. Doesn't matter what class, how many credits, how much you're paying for each credit, you will never get that lesson. You can put your hands down, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. The reason why I say to what level did you get involved is because depending on how much you got involved will relate to the ajr, the hasanat, the thawab that you get in your interaction with that person. Brother, do me a favor. I'm trying to use the internet on my phone instead of using the internet from the GMC. So if you have, if you do you have the access or not? Not? Okay. So, before we get into this, inshallah, you guys can see that you all have handouts. Part of those handouts, you will find a breakdown of some of the topics that get covered in a Janazah workshop. Usually when you have a Janazah workshop, the first thing you see and the first thing that you deal with is that the body starts on the table. Yes or no? But is that real life? When somebody dies, they end up, subhanAllah, miraculously, magically on the wash table? No. There's a lot of things to go on from the time that the person is passing away, before they pass away, when they die, transporting them, moving them from place to place, and then handling their actual ghusl and kafan. So part of today's talk is not just doing the practical ghusl and kafan. We're going to talk about the practical steps of what to do as someone is dying, and what we should be doing, inshallah, even for ourselves as we, Bani Admin, are human beings, what we should be doing as death is approaching us, because we know from the Prophet Muhammad that death is approaching us every single day. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in many ayat in the Quran, not just one, not just two, He says, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Every soul shall what? Taste death. And we know taste is one of the 5 what? Senses. What other senses do we have besides taste? Touch. What else? Yes. Smell. Very good. Yes. Hearing. Okay. Very good. So we know that there are different senses that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us to experience different things. Why did Allah Al-Hakim, the most wise, Al-Alim, the one who has the most knowledge, why did He decide to use dha'iqa, taste, to describe the experience of maut, of death? Anybody want to tell me, inshallah? And you can't possibly be ultimately wrong, because you can get hasanat even for trying, inshallah. Let's just, for the sake of time and for the sake of moving forward, inshallah, we're going to go over why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He say dha'iqa, that every soul shall taste death. We can taste many different flavors. You can taste sour, sweet, bitter, spicy. You can taste different levels of sour, sweet, spicy, bitter, and so on and so forth, many different flavors. But when expressing the experience of death, the ulama say that it will be one of 2 experiences. You'll either have a sweet experience or a bitter experience. Who here likes to eat sweet things? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you like to eat sweet things. And whoever doesn't have your hand up, we're going to make dua for you. Don't worry. Who here likes to eat bitter things? Raise your hand. MashaAllah. We're going to make some special dua for you if you like to eat bitter things. No, but maybe this is a preference, right? But we're going to go over some of the examples. For someone who likes to eat something sweet, when they see that sweet thing, are they not inclined towards it? And when they take the first bite of that sweet thing, do they not enjoy it? Do they want more of it? Yes. This is the example of the mu'min. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from among them. Allahumma ameen ya rabbil alameen. Is that for the believers, at the time of death, when Malak al-Maut comes, along with his what? Malak al-Maut will come with his what? His angels, his crew, his group, his soldiers, his partners, his awliya, his helpers, his sponsors. Who are they? There are 2 groups. Who knows the groups? Raise your hand. There's 2 groups of angels who accompany Malak al-Maut at the time of death. Yes, brother. Yes, brother. Can you tell me the two groups? Sisters? No? Cheat sheet, little tip. Yes. That's actually a very good guess, but not the exact answer I'm looking for. Surah Al-Nazi'at. Surah Al-Nazi'at, number 79. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He swears by these types of angels. He says, وَالنَّازِعَاتِ غَرُقًا. He swears by the angels, the ones who, nazi'at, those who shred and tear the body, the soul from the body. They will tear and shred the soul from the body. وَالنَّاشِطَاتِ نَشْطًا. And he swears by the angels, the ones who, when they remove the body or the soul from the body, they do it peacefully, gently. We're going to explain what it means. So if we're talking about the sweet experience for the believers, we're going back to the sweet experience for the believers, they will have an-nashitati nashta, the angels who are known to gently remove the soul from the body with malakul. They will be with him at that time. And how is the experience explained by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And make sure you say sallallahu alaihi wasallam for the sake of getting a great reward. Whoever sends salah and salam upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam one time, Allah will send it upon him 10 times. And the Prophet said, the one who hears my name and doesn't send salah and salam upon them, they are of the cheapest of people. And he sallallahu he said, Bu'dullah, may he be removed and far away and disgraced, the one who hears my name and does not send salah and salam upon me. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, it is like a siqa. A siqa is like the beaker. So maybe when we're pouring chai or tea or something, and the beaker has that spout, and you're pouring it, it comes out so smooth. There's nothing stopping it. It comes out very easy. This is the example of the mu'min when the time comes. Why? The answer, and we're going to try to make things quick, but I want you guys to let this stuff stick. If I speak slow, it might stick better, but if I speak slow, you're going to miss material. So I'm going to be in between. What do we say when somebody passes away? The famous saying, what do we say? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Very quickly, what does it mean? To Allah will belong, to Him will return. Okay, how about if we understood it this way? Inna lillah. We belong to Allah. We are the property of Allah. Allah, He owns us. You see? It's a little bit different than we are from Allah. No. Allah, He owns every single one of us. Body and soul. He owns us. Completely. We belong to Him. وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. And we're all going to turn back to Allah one day. Not only Yawm al-Qiyamah. We understand that. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings us together, He's not going to bring us together alone. We will all go to Him. So when that means we will all go to Him, means I will see that brother who wronged me, and I will be able to hold him accountable on that day. I will see the man who oppressed me, and I will be able to hold him accountable on that day. I will see the one who I gave a loan to, that he didn't give it back to me, and so on and so forth, and the sister who violated, and back and forth, and so on and so forth. Everyone will be able to make their case in front of Allah on that day. So when we say Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, the mu'min, he doesn't just believe that with his tongue. He doesn't just say it. He believes it in his heart that one day he's going to go back to Allah because he belongs to Allah. So when the time comes where he gets the call that he has to go back to Allah, it's not like it's a surprise. It's not like he has to stop and drop and roll. He doesn't have to change the situation or the flow. He will just go willingly, easily, because he's waiting for this day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قالوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة وأولئك هم المهتدون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ We will surely, for sure, no doubt, 100% guaranteed, we're going to test you. This dunya of yours, this life of yours, is not going to be Jannah. It's not going to be easy. Everything comes and you can spend and there's no problem, there's no headache, there's no marriage problems, there's no sickness, there's no death. No, you're going to have tests in everything in your life. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ Then he gets specific. بِشَيْءٍ From something, مِنَ الْخَوْفِ Fear. Somebody say, I don't have no fear, alhamdulillah. There's nobody kicking down my door. There's no bombs falling from the sky. There's no bullets. No. How many times do you fear that you're going to get to work late? You fear that you're going to lose your pay, you're going to lose your job. You're not going to make, you're not going to get married to that brother or to that sister. You fear every day. Every day we fear that we're not going to get what we want. Khawf wal-ju' and hunger. وَنَقُسِمْ And we're going to take away from you, we're going to subtract from you al-amwal, your money, wal-anfus, your lives, the janazahs, وَالثَّمَرَاتِ and your provisions, your fruits and your trees and your land and what have you. Then what does he say? What does he say after he mentions this guarantee of tests in these very destructive things? What does he say after this? Jazakallah khair. For this, this is for Allah Sayyidina Muhammad وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ. To be quite honest with you, I will refer that back to you inshallah towards the end. For the brothers who are proper hufad, you want to remind me, you're more than welcome to. But sister, Jazakallah khair, maybe inshallah towards the end, all of the questions, we will go through them one by one. Jazakallah khair. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after mentioning these things, He says, وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ Give bushra, meaning bring good news to who, Ya Allah? Those who have sabr. How do we have sabr, Ya Allah? He tells us right after, الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ Those that when a calamity befalls upon them, any calamity, they say with their tongue and with their heart, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We belong to Allah, we're the property of Allah, and we're all going to turn back to Allah one day. Do you know why it's important to say Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un whenever anything negative happens in your life? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, even when he was walking and his sandal, if his sandal, the strap would pop, like today our shoes might fall apart or something like that, his sandal would pop, he would say Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Because it doesn't matter what calamity you have. When you think about the day that you're going to turn back to Allah, Inna ilayhi raji'un, it makes that calamity seem like nothing. Someone died, you're sad, but you're going to die too. You're going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala too, and you're going to have to answer for everything Yawm al-Qiyamah. You didn't get accepted to that college, it's okay. Allah didn't create you for college. It's okay if you go there, but it's okay if you go somewhere else. You were created to worship Him, and He's going to ask you, you're going to meet Him. Worry about that more. So yes, your level of fear and khawf and dread and all of that, it will become balanced. You would say, it's okay, it's okay. So the experience for the mu'min is good. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, when someone is on their deathbed, the malaika, they are present. The angels of rahmah, they are present. And they will sit, in one hadith says, they will sit as far as the eye can see. You guys got that? As far as you can see, you will look back and you will see malaika. Another hadith says, you will, as much as the eyes can see. Meaning your full field of vision will be filled with malaika, wherever you are. But they will be looking peaceful, warm, welcoming, loving. So now, you feel that you want to what? You want to go. You're happy to go. And for the disbelieving soul, it's the opposite. You will have malaika as far as the eye can see, as much as the eyes can see, but will they look welcoming? Will they look how? Fierce, threatening, horrific. You wish not to go. That's why the Prophet Muhammad, he gave the example that instead of the soul coming out from a siqa, no, it is like a stick. Imagine a stick with thorns and pricks coming out, and you take something, a thick piece of cloth or wool, and you wrap it around this stick. and now you have to rip it apart. That ripping and that shredding you can compare to the soul coming out of your body. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said that the angels on this day that are waiting to take this person, the fear that the person will have, it will be almost death in and of itself. Just seeing them will almost be like death itself. The ulama, they give an example. They say, imagine yourself in a pitch black night. Pitch black night. And you are in an alleyway. Everybody with me? To the right of you is one wall. To the left of you is one wall. And to behind you is another wall. And in front of you is a pack of wolves. There's no moonlight. It's covered. It's pitch black. All you can see is the glowing of their eyes. And all you can hear is the growling of their voice. And the drool hitting the ground. And all you can feel in your heart is fear and dread. They say the malaika on that day will make you fear multiple times more than that. May Allah protect us from that. Allahumma ameen ya rabbil alameen. So, let's move forward inshallah ta'ala. Who here, for the next point, who here would like a death which is slow and painful? Raise your hand. Who wants a slow and painful death? We're going to make that for your sister. Any brothers? Who here wants a fast and painless death? Raise your hand. Okay, sisters, okay. Let me tell you that the sister, she's not ultimately wrong. Although we never ask for anything. We never ask for a test from Allah. It's not wise to ask for Allah to test us or to put us in a bad situation. We always say, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Oh Allah, give us from the dunya the best, and from the akhirah the best, and protect us from the hellfire. Now, let me give you an example. Let's say if you're getting out of JMC, you want to go home. You're getting to your car. Before you get to your car, you get smashed by a truck. You get smashed by a truck. The EMT arrives. DOA, dead upon or dead on arrival. You're dead. Consider this one scenario. Now consider the next scenario. You come out, you go into the car, the truck smashes you, but you're not dead. You have 6 months, 9 months, 12 months inside of a hospital where some stranger, man or woman, Allahu A'lam, who's taking care of you, has to turn you, clean you, feed you, massage you, change your bandages, all of this stuff. Now you might say to yourself, I'd much rather go out quick. Now another person might say, I'm not ready to go quick. I don't mind if this strange person is changing me. I have what? Time. I have time. For what? For tawbah, number one. What else? You have time for istighfar. You have time for tasbih. You have time to pick up the phone and call your mother and tell her how horrible of a child you've been and that you asking for forgiveness. That you can call and pick up your phone and tell your brother, the money that I borrowed from you is here. Come pick it up. You can fix your situation in those 6, 9, 12 months. You can fix yourself a little bit better to prepare for your meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But good news, inshallah ta'ala, may Allah make us from the mu'mineen, Allahumma ameen, is that the Prophet Muhammad, he said, موت الفجأة أخذ الفاجر أسفا وأخذ المؤمن راحة. That sudden death, dying suddenly, like that crash, someone just smashing into you, it takes the fajr. Fajr is someone who disobeys Allah openly. You see, كل بني آدم خطاء. We know the Prophet ﷺ said that all of the children of Adam, they are what? خطاء, which means they do what? They commit sins, they commit mistakes. But then he said, خَيْرُ الْخَطَّائِينَ تَوَّابُونَ. Those who are the best of those who make mistakes are those who constantly make tawbah. But the fajr is someone who sins but sins openly. Sins but sins openly. The brother knows that smoking is haram. He doesn't mind to smoke it in front of the other brothers. This is fajr. This is a type of disobeying Allah openly. You see, a sister doesn't observe her hijab. She knows haram. So instead of just putting it on for the sake of putting it on, she says, I don't care if I put it on, if I don't put it on. That's between me and Allah. This is also a type of disobeying Allah openly. That you don't mind that it's haram and you still do it in public. You see, there's a big difference between doing sins between you and Allah and asking Allah to forgive your shortcomings privately or doing it in public and not having any shame about it. This is a very big difference. So for the fajr, the openly disobedient person, sudden death takes them in a regretful way. Why? Because they have no time to fix their situation. It's too sudden. But it takes the mu'min as an act of mercy and peace and blessings. Because the mu'min, every moment of their life, is doing something good, or about to do something good, or staying away from something bad, or making istighfar from doing something bad. It's always a good situation. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from among them. Allahumma ameen ya rabbal alameen. So we don't ask for a slow death or a fast death or any death. We ask Allah, Allahumma rzuqana husn al-khatima. Oh Allah, grant us a righteous end. Allahumma ameen. How will it be? Will you rest or will you be rested from? How will it be when you die? Will you rest? The Prophet ﷺ passed, a janazah passed him by. It was a death of one of the Ansar, the people who died from amongst those who accepted the Muhajirin in Medina. Besides the point, one of them died, and so he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, mustarihun aw mustarahun min, that he will be resting or he will be rested from. And a quick explanation is that the Muslim, they rest from this dunya and the trials of this dunya. Even if you have an easy life in this dunya, do we not have many rules? Stop this at this time, pray at that time, you can eat this but you can't eat that, you can marry this but you can't marry this, you can't marry that, you can touch this but you can't touch that, you can wear this but you can't wear that, and you can eat this at this time but not at that time. So the Muslim has many regulations, do's and don'ts for the sake of Allah. So he rests from that lifestyle of having to subject himself to do's and don'ts. And he will enter into the bliss and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Jannah. So he doesn't have to worry about that. But the kafir, the disbelieving soul, he will be rested from. He will be rested from how? I'll give you a perfect example. Who here, without thinking too hard, can think of a few people in this world that if they were to die, they would be happy and they would rest from their problems? I can probably list 100 at least, easy, without thinking too hard. Yes or no? There's many people in this world, if they die, it'll be better. For the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for the non-Muslims, for the earth. And so the Prophet, he said he will be resting or he'll be rested from. So we ask Allah to protect us, to be of those who rest from this dunya and the trials of this dunya, and not to be amongst those who, when they die, they are a source of peace. Their death is a source of peace for others. Allahumma ameen ya rabbal alameen. Okay. This is something that everyone should consider. These are some things that everyone should consider as death is approaching. Death is approaching each and every one of us. Yes or no? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّكَ كَدِحٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ كَدِحًا فَمُلَاقِي. Verily, you are coming unto Allah, whether you like it or not. You are coming to Allah. How many of us have been to the airport? Raise your hand. I feel bad for you guys that don't go to the airport. You should. Even if you're not flying anywhere, just go to the airport, mashallah. This one not. They have conveyor belts. You stand on the conveyor belt, it brings you from one place to another. You don't have to walk. This is the example. Allah is telling you, you are coming to me, even if you're not walking, even if you're paralyzed. The minute that you were given the ruh in the soul at 120 days, as the hadith mentions, from that point, your clock is ticking. You're going to die, and you're going to meet me. Okay? So as we are dying, there's some things that we must consider. The first one that I put up here, there's many. This is just a few points. Something called husn al-dhan billah. Husn al-dhan billah means having good expectations, good assumptions about your Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I were to leave JMC right now, and my car's not starting, I'm going to call Brother Majid, I'm going to call Brother Sajid, I'm going to call Abdul Wahid, I'm going to call my brother Sal, I'm going to call whoever, and I'm going to say, look, my car's stuck, come get me, I'm right in front of the masjid, and I'm going to hang up the phone. I'm not going to ask him, are you busy? I'm not going to ask him, did you come with your wife? I'm not going to ask him, do you have obligations after this? I have so much good expectations of my brother. I have a problem, I know he's going to come and help me, because he knows I'm going to do the same thing for him. But when you're comparing your situation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to this person, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلَ الْأَعْلَى, and with Allah is the highest example. I'm asking a man who has 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 brain, 1 heart. How about with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who controls the dunya and whatever is in the dunya? You should expect from him the best. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in a hadith Qudusi, He says, أَنَا عِنْدَ ظَنَّ عَبْدِي بِي وَأَنَا مَعَهُ إِذَا ذَكَّرَنِي. I am with my abd when he thinks of me. Whenever he thinks of me, I'm with him. And I will be with him as he thinks of me. Meaning this: if you are dying and you say, "Oh Allah, you are Rahman Rahim. You are the most merciful, the especially merciful, the gracious, the merciful. You have so much rahmah, you are going to forgive me, Allah. You are Ghafoor, you're Rahim, you're Wadud, you're Hanoon, you're Halim, you're all of these names, Ya Allah, so have mercy upon me, forgive me. I know you're going to forgive me, Ya Allah. Allah, He will be unto this servant that way. But for the person who says, "Oh Allah, I've done so much wrong in my life, I've committed so many sins, I don't have enough hasanat, I have nothing to give you, there's no way you can forgive me." Can Allah forgive him? Allah can forgive him. The question is, will Allah forgive him? According to this hadith, his sunnah is, as you treat me, I will give it to you. So he can say, I can, but I won't. Because this is how you expect me, and this is how I will receive you. So it's very important, brothers and sisters, that we have husn al-dhan billah. And I'm going to try to wrap this up quickly because we have about 45 minutes until the iqamah for Isha, inshallah. The Prophet Muhammad, he said, a very important hadith, he says, لا يموتن أحدكم إلا وهو يحسن بالله ظنه. Do not let death approach any one of you. Do not let death come to any one of you, except that you have perfected, you have husn al-dhan billah, except that you have perfected your expectations with Allah, except that you have made a good assumption with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does that mean? Does that mean that when Malik al-Maut comes to take our soul, we say, wait, hold on, stop right there. I'm not ready to go. You can't take me yet. He's going to say, why? You're going to say, because the Prophet says, do not let death come except that I have husn al-dhan billah, good expectations with Allah, and right now I don't. So you can't come now. You're not filling the hadith. Is that what it means? What does it mean? It means that death is approaching every single moment, so we better prepare right now until we die. Think of Allah in the best way from now until you die. Be good with Allah and your expectations of Him from now until you die. Who here loves Allah? Raise your hand. You say you all do. I know you say you all do. It's called lip service. Yeah? We all say we love Allah. I'm going to say a question, different way. A'udhu billahi min dhalik, just the idea of it. But who here, astaghfirullah, can say that they hate Allah? Astaghfirullah. Who here can say that? Raise your hand. If you do, I'm going to call Umar. He's going to pull out the sword and he's going to start taking care of business, right? No. So listen carefully. I'm going to change the question just a little bit. Time now is 7:15. Who here, the same ones that had their hands when I said who loves Allah, that almost popped their shoulder out of the socket, who here can still say that if I was to say that at 7:20, in 5 minutes from now, if you still, the same love that you have for Allah, you love to meet Allah the way your salah, your sadaqah, your mu'amala, how you treat people, your lisan, your tongue, how much it moves, the backbiting, the not backbiting, the debt, the not debt, the salah, the not the salah, how you handle your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your co-workers, all of that, your deeds, your book bag of deeds. Who here has the same, shoulder popping, hand raising feeling? We don't. None of us do. And anybody who put their hand up, we can advise them nicely and gently that whatever you did, you know you can do more. You know that there's enough regret in your life to make you try to do so many more things better. The Prophet Muhammad, he says, "Man ahabba liqa Allah, ahabba Allahu liqa'ah, wa man kariha liqa Allah, kariha Allahu liqa'ah." Whomsoever loves to meet Allah, Allah too loves to meet them. And whomsoever hates to meet Allah, Allah too hates to meet them. So Aisha, she said, Ya Rasulullah, we all hate death. None of us like the idea of dying. He said, no, Ya Aisha, that's not the meaning. The meaning is that when death comes to you and those malaika, they present themselves to you, if you were a good soul, you will love to meet Allah at that point, and Allah too will love to meet you. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us a life so that when we're dying, we are greeted with these beautiful angels, so that we can feel that love of loving to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahumma ameen ya rabbil alameen. Very quickly, we must give back what does not belong to us. Why? Because if you do not give back what does not belong to you, not only will you have adab on the day of judgment, and not only will you have adab in the qabr, but even if you are a righteous soul, listen carefully, even if you are a righteous soul, Allah can hold back the blessings from you. Allah can hold back the blessings from you. I'll give you a hadith. The Prophet Muhammad, he was going to pray Salat al-Janazah over one of the Sahaba, and he said, "Who is the family of this deceased?" Nobody answered. He said, "Who is the family of this deceased?" Nobody answered. He said, "Who is the family of this deceased?" No one answered. Until finally one man, he came and he said, "Ana ya Rasulullah, I am the family member of this deceased." And the Prophet ﷺ, he asked him, he said, "Why didn't you answer me when I'm only calling you to that which is good for you?" And the man, he said, "Indeed, I am the family of the deceased." He said, "Your family member has a debt." It wasn't a big debt. 2 dirham, not even $2. He has a debt. So go pay off that debt, because he is being held back from the blessings of Allah. When a person dies, automatically the soul should start experiencing either the good or, a'udhu billah, the evil. But if you are good and you have a debt that you do not intend to pay back, you did not work towards paying it back, you can be held back from the blessings of Allah. Because even though Allah, He is Rahim, He is the most merciful, Allah, He is also Al-Adl, the most just. Allah, He is very just. So if you did wrong to someone, Allah can forgive you for what you did between you and him. But for another person, that person has to also forgive you, inshallah. Yes or no? Okay. Moving forward, inshallah, we should all make our wasiyah. The Prophet Muhammad, he said, "Do not go 2 nights. Do not go 2 nights. Do not go 2 nights without writing your wasiyah." If you have anything to give someone, a laptop, a fancy purse, a car, some money, something that when you die you should give to your family or to your loved ones or to the masjid or something, you should write your wasiyah. Especially in this country, when everything that happens around death is against Islam. For example, if you die on the street, what do they do with your body? They take you to the coroner's office to do what? An autopsy, to find out your cause of death. That's against Islam. You should have a wasiyah, a will that says, "Do not touch my body like this, this, and that." Now you may say, "Yeah, but how are we going to carry that paper around?" You don't carry the paper around. You sign the paper, you write on the paper, you put contact information on the paper, and then now 2018, alhamdulillah, you put this in your wallet next to your ID. It's called a MEC card, Muslim Emergency Card. When you pass away, wherever you are, if you're with Muslims or you're not with Muslims, this will speak up for you. They're going to contact the number. They're going to say, "Look, we have Abdullah Salih in our possession. He has a card that says call in case of medical death or emergency. What should we do with him?" We say, "Hold on. We're going to pull up the name of the system. We're going to say, okay, we have his father's number, his brother's number, and his aunt's number. First of all, he's Muslim. Don't cut his body. Second, he's Muslim. Don't do organ donation." And we tell them, stop everything until these individuals contact you. Now we can follow the Quran and Sunnah. So these are some of the things, inshallah ta'ala. Now we're getting into what to do for a dying person. It says to prompt with the shahada. What does that mean? Sounds simple. What does that mean? Prompt with the shahada. Anybody? Yes? Encourage them to say the shahada. Now, we're going to be practical. This is a practical janazah workshop. How should we encourage them? Saying it by the ear is one very good way. What else? Whispering is another thing. Can you say it out loud too? Yes? Okay, but now my question is, how many times do you say it? How many times should you say the shahada to somebody who's dying? Continuous. One blessing is continuous. Anybody else? One time. Anybody else? Until they're dead, right? Let me just educate everybody. Our sisters that have been here, right? Maybe Allah has blessed them to go through labor and to give birth to a child, alhamdulillah. When they're going through that pain, that experience, if I were to stand next to my wife while she's giving birth and I say, Say La ilaha illallah, say La ilaha illallah, say La ilaha illallah, say La ilaha illallah, say La ilaha illallah. If she can reach my neck, if she can reach, she might snap my neck. Am I telling her something wrong? No, La ilaha illallah, the best words ever. What's the problem? The problem is we're not being understanding that when someone's dying, we're not being sympathetic that this is the most difficult situation. Sakarat al-maut, the pains and the trials of death, when you're experiencing death, even the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he faced them, they are worse than pregnancy. They are worse than pregnancy. So you have to be modest and humble with your approach. And how do you do it? It's simple. The hadith says, من كان آخر كلامه لا إله إلا الله دخل الجنة. Whomsoever's last words are La ilaha illallah, they will enter Jannah. So as Muslims that are trying to hit that target, we say we're going to go, we're going to give salam, we're going to greet them, we're going to make them feel comfortable, we're going to give them water, whatever they need to make to be comfortable, we're going to give them. Then, when it gets quiet, we're going to remind them one time, say La ilaha illallah. They will say La ilaha illallah. If it stops, communication stops, that's it, you stop. You don't bother them. If the person gets up and they say, listen, I need some more water, can you turn me on my back, can you do this, can you do that? They have broke the chain. So you put the chain back, you say La ilaha illallah. After the end, you accommodate them, you say La ilaha illallah. They will say La ilaha illallah. Stops, you stop, inshallah. You make dua, because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, around the sick and the dying, the angels are present and they say Ameen to what you say, so say good words, meaning make dua. And lastly, in this country we have to give da'wah, because when we go to visit Begum, we go to visit Fatima, we go to visit what have you, right next door or sometimes even in the same room is Michael, is Mary, is whoever. You go and you say, my name is Noor. If you have a really long name like Muhammaduddin, Sharafuddin, Islam, Muhammad, Ayyub, whatever, you give them something small to remember. Yes, you give them one name, small to remember, because they're sick. It's not that you're not proud of being Muslim. You're very proud of being Muslim, but you're also wise. You're a smart Muslim. And you say, I'm going to give them a small name so they can understand, and then you open the door. You say, listen, I'm here for my uncle. I'm here for my brother. He's not feeling too well, but I'm here to visit him, and I just want to let you know that since I'm here for him, I'm here for you. Anything that you need, let me know. You want me to get you something to drink, water, a juice? You want me to contact the nurse? You want me to do, of course, there's laws in the hospital, what you can and cannot do with a patient, but still, you just opening up that door of communication, offering your services, telling that person that, hey, I'm here for them, but I'm here for you too. This is one of the greatest sources of da'wah that you can give. And I see this every single day. Because these people, most of the time, these non-Muslims are never ever visited. Us visiting a Muslim, Allah, out of His hikmah, He gives us great hasanat, great rewards for doing it. He encourages us to do it. But in their deen, it's not even like a charity act. It's like something, it's a burden to go and visit someone. So we do it, and when they say, why are you doing this? We tell them, this is what our deen, this is what our way of life commands of us. And we love to do it. They'll say, what is this deen? What is this religion? Tell them, it's Islam. This is a door of da'wah. You open up the door of da'wah, inshallah. Now we're going to get physical. Who here is going to be our dead guy? Jamil, not you, bye. Not you. Yes, you can, inshallah. Come. There's a reason for me doing this. It's not that, well, yeah. I already did the chest and back. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. What's your name, boy? Tamjeed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you a good life and a good death. Say Ameen. Ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you a reason for your parents to enter Jannah easily. Say Ameen. Ameen. And we pray that this moment, that when he's doing this, whoever is watching, that they may think that, why are you doing this? You're scaring me, you're scaring my son. We're not. We're just preparing you for a day that will definitely come, and maybe this will make him actually think of death more seriously, and he'll be a better son. And maybe because of this, you'll be a better parent. You'll appreciate him a little bit more, inshallah. So, what I'd like for you to do, come over here, right here. Oh, yeah, you can take off your shoes, inshallah. Just go right there, and I need you to just drop dead. Okay? Now, many of us, when this happens in the Janazah workshop, usually we laugh, we giggle, we chuckle. It's funny. The brother who's talking, walking, mashallah, very cute, Tamjeed brother, and I tell him to drop dead, and he drops dead, and it's kind of funny. But guess what? I promise you, wallahi, he is my witness, that even when you're preparing for someone to die, even when you know they're on their deathbed, they're going to die any moment, the doctor tells you they have 1 week, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. When you're doing your daily work and you get the phone call that such and such person died, it's always like that. Out of nowhere. Bil-ghafla. Like just without any type of warning, you get that call. Even if you were anticipating it, that moment, that phone call, it comes unexpectedly. And it takes you by chance. That's just part of one of the things of death. Is that when it comes like that. So, there's something that we have to do. And I'm going to ask Jamil Bhai to come forward, inshallah, and give us a hand in doing just basic janazah duties towards our brothers and sisters, inshallah. Jamil and John. Where's John? John can come through, inshallah. John is there. Okay, bismillah. Come through. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. What is the first thing say to do? When someone dies, what do we do? Close the eyes. My question is why? Tell me why. There's many answers, but there's one good answer. It's very hard to close the eyes after. It's a very good answer. It's not the best answer. Yes, brother. When you watch the body, if the eyes are there staring at you, it's very uncomfortable. It's a very good answer. It's not the best answer.
The eyes roll up when the soul.
Very good. Eyes rolling up physically. That's a very good answer. It's not the best answer. Not rigor mortis. Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless us with the sunnah. Allahumma ameen ya rabbil alameen. We do that. We do all of them because this is the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Every sunnah that Allah told the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to do, if we do it, this is another way to get to Jannah. Understand this. A sunnah that you follow is a way for you to get into Jannah. Any sunnah that you follow, even if it looks something small like this, like closing the eyes. Jamil Bhai, if you don't mind, go to Tamjeed, who's moving his head back and forth, which that person is not supposed to be doing, but it's okay. We're going to close his eyes. We close his eyes because number one, it's sunnah. And the sunnah, whether you understand the wisdoms behind it or not, this is wahi from Allah Azza wa Jal. Perfect knowledge. And there's blessings that come with it, which the brothers mentioned. If you close the eyes now, when rigor mortis, when the body gets tense, when it kicks in, instead of the muscles that your eyelids are going up and down with, instead of the muscles staying open and rigor mortis coming in, it stays open, and now it's going to be very hard for you to close your eye, to close the person's eyelids. If you close them now and rigor mortis kicks in, it's going to be hard to do the opposite. It's going to be hard for them to be open. That's some of the wisdoms behind it. And if the eyes are open during the washing, it's very unsettling, very uncomfortable. If the eyes are open and the mother comes to kiss him on his head and say goodbye to him, it's very unsettling. You don't want to remember the person that way. Okay? So, number one, you close the eyes of the deceased. Next, we make dua. Why do we make dua? Say it again, say it loud. Sunnah, that's number one. Number one answer, you're not going to go wrong. Is sunnah. And we do this because the Prophet Muhammad, he said, around your sick and dying, make dua for make dua for them because the angels are present. But also, when the Prophet he visited the house of Abu Salama radiallahu anhu, Salama, she was crying and what have you. The Prophet he came, he closed his eyes and he made dua for him. So this is another sunnah. He said, Allahumma gfir li Abu Salama warfa' darajatahu fil mahdiyin wa akhlifhu fi a'tabihi fil ghabirin. It's very important that you brothers and sisters, of you guys, inshallah, who does not have this book, Fortress of the Muslim? Who does not have this book? Allahu Akbar. Who has not heard of this book, Fortress of the Muslim? Keep your hand up. Guys, those brothers that are raising your hand, who here does not have a smartphone? Go on your application thing, whether it be a Play Store or an Apple thing or whatever, and put Fortress of the Muslim. The Prophet Muhammad has taught us different adhkar, different dua for everything. When you wake up, when you go to the bathroom, when you put your clothes on, when you get out of the bathroom, before you make salah, after you make salah, when you're giving, when you see anything, when someone's dying and someone's dead and you're going to visit the grave, everything. When it's raining, when it's snowing, there's dua for everything, inshallah. This book, I actually got it yesterday from the Man Student Center. They had an event. So I'm going to give this as a gift to somebody. Throughout this course, I'm going to ask a question. It's not too easy, but I will give it to you, inshallah, if you don't have this book already. So, we make dua. Then, we cover the body. Why do we cover the body? Jazakallah khair. Sunnah. That's number one. We cover the body. Usually, back home, you would find the opposite. Yes or no? Even nowadays, sometimes you find the opposite. Just for the sake of covering, for now, just put this over him, inshallah. This is where things get a little bit, right? Because now you see that the body's there, but you know that something's not right. Something's not right. He can breathe, inshallah. He can breathe, inshallah. You feel it. When a body is in a place, in a home, in a masjid, in a washroom, and the body's covered, subhanAllah, you know the body's there, but what? The soul's not there. And you have to understand that even, let's say if Tamjid was getting married this day, on this day, okay? And he was prepped up, and he was shaped up, and he was taped up, and he was all of that up, sharpened up. This is his worst day because he is vulnerable to everything. And he cannot speak for himself, he cannot do for himself, he cannot walk, talk, nothing. So he's in his worst condition. He does not want to be seen like this. Even if he looks good, he doesn't feel good. So we cover him out of respect for his body. In other traditions, back home maybe, it's the opposite. The person passes away on the bed, what do? They make the bed nice, they show his face, they put roses all over the bed, and they tell people, Yalla, come look. Would that person like for you to do that? No. But out of culture, sometimes we do these things. But this is not something that the Prophet ﷺ asked us to do. He actually told us to cover the body, as he covered the body of Abu Salama, and as Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she covered his body alayhi salatu wasalam when he passed away. Okay? And we open to see what that person wanted, their wasiyah, their will. We look to see what they wanted to do in their life. Who they wanted to wash their body, shroud their body, which masjid they wanted to pray Salat al-Janazah, which cemetery did they want to go to. You open this now, not later. Because if you open it later, guess what? It's too late. The wheels are turning, no one can stop anything. But if you stop and say, wait, this is what he wanted. When everyone's sitting down making a decision, and they say, what are we going to do, where are we going to go, who's going to do this? That's not for you to say. You have no right in that. The person, they already decided, this is what they want. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He commands us that when it comes to the wasiyah, you must follow the wasiyah as long as there's nothing haram in it. As long as the person didn't ask for anything haram, you must follow the wasiyah. And this is haqq ala al-muttaqeen. This is a right on everyone who has taqwa. So, you hurry with the janazah. The Prophet said, Asri'u bil janaiz. Hurry and speed up the process of the janazah, because if it is a righteous person, you are going to bring them closer to their goodness soon. And if it is not a righteous person, he said, the Prophet, if he is other than that, meaning an evil person, you are removing the evil off of your necks and off of your shoulders sooner. Doesn't matter, evil or good. Get them into the ground faster, because it will be better for you and better for them. And finally, pay off the debts. Now, practically and physically, if somebody passed away, because when he went down, he scared me. He was like going to go almost on his face, and that's not good, because if rigor mortis kicks in at this time, it's going to be very hard to put their limbs and their arms, everything straight, because when you wash them, you don't want them to wash them with their arm bent or their foot crooked. Or, I picked up one brother, may Allah have mercy upon him. He passed away in his shower. He was taking a shower, he was standing, and by the time that the medical examiner finished, EMTs, families, whatever, he was literally in a ball with different twists and turns and stuff like that. And I told the family, either you give him an extra day for us to just try to massage him out straight, which takes a long time, or we do his janazah today and he's going to stay looking like he's almost in a fetal position with his hand turned, bent, and all of that stuff. So you try your best. If somebody's passing away in front of you, you fix their limbs straight, their arms, their head, and all of that, especially their jaws. You can actually take a piece of ribbon, you can tie it around from under their chin and over their head, inshallah. Okay? Okay. Next. This is before the actual washing. This is before you put a brother or sister onto the wash table, because that's not how things happen. Is that you are to put the body inside of, inshallah, a body bag. And right here we have a body bag right on top of him. Brother John and Jameel, they're going to demonstrate, inshallah, how to get a deceased from the place of death, which might most likely be where? Where does people usually pass away? Hospital, right? So instead of the nurses coming in, brothers and sisters, to move your Muslim brother or sister, or your mother, or your father, or your whoever, why don't you get the hasanat? That person is not getting hasanat for doing that, unless they're a Muslim and their intention is to get hasanat, right? Why don't you take it upon yourself to get the hasanat? Because when you do these actions, subhanAllah, it's okay if you block it, it's fine for now. if you are doing these actions, then you'll be getting the reward, and you'll be able to remind yourself that when Babaji died, when Uncle G, when this person, when Auntie, when whoever passed away, I took the initiative to help them at their final time, and they would have been happy with that. Yes or no? Khair. So let's, inshallah ta'ala, take the body bag. John is going to help Brother Jameel turn the body bag over. You should be turning it this way, Jameel.
Oh, which way?
This way? It's okay. I'm just trying to show them that you don't even have to be a Janazah professional to put a body inside of a body bag so that he can be transported, inshallah.
Oh, there's a zipper.
Okay, there's a zipper. There's only one way to go in, Jameel.
You have
So, the bag will be unzippered, okay? And as the bag is being unzippered, inshallah, they're going to get ready to place the brother inside. They're going to, and for brothers and sisters that are in nursing, you're going to learn how to handle bodies. Why is it important to learn how to handle bodies? The hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, he said, Kasr a'lam al-miyyit, breaking the bone of a dead person, kakasruhu hayy, is like breaking it if they're alive. Which means that you must treat him as though he's sleeping, kindly, gently, turning him softly. So what you're going to do, inshallah ta'ala, you see, brothers and sisters, if you guys do it, just really quick, pick up that body bag from one side and John pick it up from the other side, really quick. No.